Okay, is it visible?
Yes.
Okay, so today we will discuss a small session on, we will discuss a small session on ward rounds. So I was thinking we'll start with a very simple one. We won't be doing a detailed one today. So ward rounds is a new thing. And what will happen is there'll be 4 ward round stations. So usually it will be separate exam rooms, but it depends on your center. And first you will be entering the exam room and the examiner will be there. And you should be wishing them and they will ask you to please take a seat. And usually there will be a patient, a real patient. Even during COVID times, we had real patients last time. So there'll be a patient and someone with the patient. So in our case today, there is a 5-year-old well-looking girl sitting on the bed. She's wearing a mask and she's with her mother by her side. So like that, examiner will give you a small history and then the questions will start. So I don't have any pictures with me. This is from the internet. This is a 5-year-old girl and please examine and tell me the general examination findings alone. So this is your question, Dr. IC.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Hello.
you are audible. Tell me.
Okay. 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 First, I will introduce myself, and I will take consent from both mother and the kid. And since it is a pandemic time, I would like to do hand washing and probably have hand sanitization also.
Yes.
And then I will start a general physical examination. In this child, the head appears actually small for age.
Yeah.
And there is upslanting of both eyes, that is a Mongolian slant, and a slightly depressed nasal bridge, and ears are slightly low set, I think, and mouth appears wide open with tongue is slightly protruding, not much, and I think the neck is also shortened.
Yeah, you can't see the limbs. Just tell me the usual findings you're expecting in a child with Down syndrome. In this picture, obviously, you can't see the hands and feet.
Okay. In a child with Down syndrome, in the head, you can see a flat, starting from the head, you can see a flat occiput, and hair will be sparse, and there can be a microcephaly. And face, you will get a flat nasal bridge, and ears will be low set. There can be ear anomalies also, and eyes, there will be Mongolian slant and epicanthal fold, and the brush feet spots, and you should also look for squint, nystagmus, and cataract. And in the mouth will be a small with a short and hard palate and protruding tongue. And tongue is actually appears to be protruded since the mouth is small, and there can be irregular dentition, and you should look for tonsils. Then the tongue, sometimes the tongue appears with numerous ferocities like a scrotal tongue. And in the neck, you can look for any thyroid swelling or not, and you can also see low posterior hairline, and you can also look for any neck pain. And in the chest, you can look for scars of any surgeries, then any chest anomalies, pectus carinatum, excavatum, like this. Then in the limbs, especially in the hands, upper limb, you can look for the simian single transverse palmar crease, and also Sydney crease, and the short fingers. Fifth finger, you can look for clinodactyly, in curving of the fifth finger. Then abnormal dermatoglyphics, probably an 80° angle will be obtuse. Then in the lower limb, you can look for sandal gap, increase gap between the first and second toe, and deep furrow in between the same side, that is Kennedy crease. Then abdomen, you can also look for any surgical scars on hepatosplenomegaly. Then that's all comes to my mind. Thank you.
Okay, you have covered almost everything, more than enough. Thank you, IC. So, Dr. IC has pretended as a candidate, and we are done with the initial part. So this is the general things what you will be expected to do. You will have to introduce yourself, say hi to the baby, ask the mother's consent, and use a hand sanitizer. Always remember to do that. They'll keep it there. It is the COVID times. Always use a hand sanitizer before touching the child. And inspect the child first. Don't go and undress the child immediately. First tell the inspection findings even in general examination. And examine if needed, and say the findings simultaneously. That's the most important part in ward rounds. You can't examine the child and then start from the beginning. There won't be time. So you have to think on your feet and say the findings as immediately when you are seeing them. You have to check the hair and tell the examiner that the hair is appearing like that, like that. So answer the questions if any. Once you are done with the general examination findings, sometimes they will have more questions for you. So it is important that you finish your findings within the time period, because there will be marks for the extra questions. So you have to score there also. And then thank everyone, including the mother and the child, wave a bye and thank the examiner and wait outside till the next bell. And this speed of doing this, that will come only from practice. You have to keep on doing this in your OP or ward. So today's was Down syndrome general examination. It is given very detailed in clinical textbooks. Aruchami sir's book has all the features commonly seen in a Down syndrome child. So you have to follow the format and keep on going over the format and by heart the format. Like where will you start? Always you should start with the consciousness. How is a child appearing? Is the child alert? Is the child comatose? That is where you should start for every child in any case in the general examination. Then gait and posture. It's a child with Down syndrome. You don't know if the child is mobile or not. So you have to always at least ask the mother how the child walks, and is the child using any any help for the ambulation, and whether the child is well or sick looking. That's also extremely important. You have to say a word about the appearance of the child: toxic looking, sick looking, well looking, like that. All the books have all these things, so I'm not going into all those details now. And do not forget to mention this cannula or any line is there, any feeding tube is there. Don't miss those things. And one point I want to stress here is, in general, always look for things affecting the child's life or reflecting the caretaker's daily life, affecting their life on a daily basis. That is like specs for a child. A child having to wear specs all the time for a proper vision, that specs is very important for you. An orthosis, a wheelchair, a feeding tube. If the child is being fed through a feeding tube, and that is one other thing, you have to expose a child, because a child might be having a gastrostomy down there. And also any contractures and any disfiguring scars. So these are the things. And just like IC mentioned, you have to always examine the child's eyes. If the child is wearing specs, you will miss a squint. So remove the specs and see if the child has a squint there. And other things related, like signs of nutrition. stigmata of all the vitamin deficiencies, A, B, C, D, E, and micronutrient, other trace elements and micronutrient deficiencies. And all the things associated with nutrition, short stature, overweight, wasting, just a word you can tell in the general examination. Whether there is any obvious features of rickets. Sometimes they will keep a child with rickets for general examination. Then you should go on for with everything related to rickets in that child. The head size, and the spatial arrangement of the organs on the face. Like how are the eyes situated? Is there hypertelorism? Is the ear low set? That spatial arrangement you should always look for. Because for some people to identify dysmorphism, it is very easy. But for some of us, it is quite hard. So we should always train in looking for the facial spatial arrangement on the face. How are the relative positions of the eyes? What is midfacial crowding? What is cause face? All those things. Then another thing which is often missed is involuntary movements. There will be small, subtle involuntary movements. Some choreoathetosis, some tremor, you will miss that. So always look for involuntary movements. And if it is a pure general examination question, yes, you have to mention any involuntary movement if you see something. And nails and skin. Always look for these cutaneous markers. That is something we miss. There might be more than enough cafe au lait spots to put the child into that criteria. Or there can be flat nails and the child might be completely anemic. So don't miss those things. And skeletal deformities. That is one thing which we won't usually look for. There might be some skeletal abnormality for the child. And obviously do not miss the external genitalia. But one thing is, please do not mention the things that are not there. Please don't say that there is no features of rickets. See, why would you just say like that? There is no point in saying that there is no bowing of legs. So don't say anything, don't mention anything that is not there. And even if you know very well to classify, say, there is a classification of epicandal folds. Even if you know the type, please leave the details unless it is asked for. That is because if you go into the trouble, then they might know more than that and they will start questioning you about that. Then it will affect your rest of the performance. So don't go there. And some of the things which we usually miss is hairline, the forehead, the bossing, or the ears. Usually we don't give much importance to ear. There might be a preauricular tag. So, and short neck is quite often missed. And webbing, please see some pictures of webbing. There can be subtle webbing. So, usually the angle between the shoulder and the neck will be almost like near 90 degrees. So, if it is obliterated and it is very obtuse, then there might be webbing. Then you have to pull and see if there is webbing of neck. And some masses. There might be some thyroglossal cyst or some mass somewhere. Check the axilla also. There might be obvious lymph nodes. Don't miss those things. Squint and ptosis, obviously. Then teeth and tonsils. Suppose a child is having some odd shaped teeth, or the child doesn't have any teeth and the child is already past 1 year. Those things you should not miss. But during COVID times, you are not supposed to see the throat. So for now, you can skip that part. And clubbing, very often clubbing is missed because we don't practice checking clubbing. We don't see much clubbing in our daily life. So please check everything, have a list in your mind and go through that. Next thing is hernias, then pigmented macules, like I said, and hyperpigmented patches. There might be Ashliff macules. It can be a child with tuberous sclerosis who is sitting there, and scars of previous surgeries, any extra digits. And please have a look at palms and soles, like the child in Down syndrome. You have findings on the soles even. So once this is finished and try to finish within the time, there might be some questions about Down syndrome or one specific finding which this child has. Suppose this child is having a convergent squint. They might ask more questions about squint. And there may be general questions about Down syndrome or the genetics of the Down syndrome. How will you follow up a child? What will you do during each visit? and regarding the comorbidities. That part is especially important because comorbidities, a lot of questions will be asked in theory, also in practical. And the child might have a scar on the chest, and it might be from a cardiac surgery. So they might ask you which surgery it was. So these are some of the questions which we can expect. So that is it for today. Thank you. Are there any doubts?